this terrace no less than 5 minutes ago, and therefore 5 minutes later we've received a response from the City of Perth in terms of our letter that we've handed over to Mr. Frank Edwards. This is basically a response in terms of the vested order, and it's a land act that declares this particular parkland to be of public use. So it's basically nothing more or less than the statement that it's a public park. So, you know, it's nothing that we as Aboriginal people had known existed within their acts, and it's dated into the 1970s, 1977, and as far as we're concerned, we're still standing strong on our principles down here at Harrison Island.
Mardigara.
Yep, our stand is in terms of our cultural rights, our sovereignty, and the rights of our future generations and our identity. So as far as we're concerned, it's not a current contemporary response from the Perth City. It was actually just a compiled compilation of documents from the 1977 Act that classes as a public reserve.
And that is invalid.
We take this opportunity
null and void
to remind the City of Perth that Mardigara, Harrison Island and the Swan River are both registered sites, and we are occupying registered Aboriginal sites under the Aboriginal Heritage Act of 1972.
As traditional owners.
However, these are our traditional sacred lands and waterways.
What did you ask for today at the council?
I'm ready to tell you. This is a letter in response to the eviction notice served from the City of Perth to the Nyoongar Tent Embassy that was established on Sunday the 12th of February 2012 on Mardigara, or as the Perth City Council know it as Harrison Island. We hereby request that the Perth City Council provide the Nyoongar Tent Embassy in writing to advise us under whose authority was the City of Perth given the right to the management of our sacred site, Mardigara. That's basically it.
And have they not done that in giving you the law? Because this site, as I understand, tell me if I'm incorrect, isn't subject to native title.
If you are speaking about white man's law, we are speaking about black man's law, the original law of our ancestors who inhabited this area, these sacred lands and waterways, and we are standing true to our culture, and in strength from our ancestors, we stand and will not be moved from our sacred sites.
Yeah, that's right. We are asserting our sovereignty. We are doing that. We are here as a group. We have decided that we are asserting our sovereignty, which means we will stay here until we come to a resolution, and that will take as long as it has to take. And it's very important for us to gather here every day with these discussions until we come to a resolution. And people have been meeting here for over 50,000 years. This has been a meeting place. And of all our ancestors, all the people standing here, all our ancestors have been here on this land.
Some have been slaughtered, some of the women have been raped. We've had there's a statue of our warrior Yagan over here that was decapitated, and we stand in the protection of the spirit of our ancestors, and we will not be moved by government documents from the 1970s. That is an absolute insult to us, the Indigenous people of this area, and we stand strong, and we stand for our sovereignty and for our sacredness.
That's right. The police might have to get involved.
We will not be oppressed and frightened by the police anymore.
We're not criminals.
Tell
them to go and do their own job.
And massacred by the police from day one, and we will not be oppressed and frightened by them anymore.
And the intimidation is abuse again.
The City of Perth today said that they don't want you to leave. They just don't. They can't have a camp here.
The City of Perth can't dictate what we do and how we conduct our cultural rights and our ceremonies on our sacred lands. And anybody else that's here come as guests of us on our land. Do you understand me?
What about the tent land in
let us say this in closing. Is that, and we said this morning to international media and media across Australia. What you see here are sober, strong, staunch Aboriginal people. This is a drug-free and an alcohol-free stance. This is a camp of resistance. The police will ultimately be sent by the government to make an arrest. So if they take this lady here, this woman with the baby in her arms, and take her into the lockup, where does the baby go? Where does that one again that's stolen go to? How many more of our people does the government want to put into jails? The jails are already full of our young men and bandy up full of our young women. So if people are going to be jailed in terms of making a stance for our cultural rights as Aboriginal people, well, I'll say go ahead, build another jail and let the eyes of the world look upon the inhumane, the unjust and the barbaric government of Western Australia.
Shame, shame, shame! You're gone!